New update on the Walker Kessler free agency situation. Let's talk about it. It's Hoops Nerd Show. All right, guys, like the video, subscribe to the channel. So we have a new update on Walker Kessler. Yesterday, we talked about some of the new rumors and how the 5-year, $140 million offer had been turned down, and Jazz fans such as myself had gotten pretty frustrated with the situation with Walker Kessler, because it certainly feels like 5 years, $140 million feels pretty good. $28 million a year for Walker Kessler seems like a solid, fair, good offer. Compared to the market, it looks good. He will get paid, and apparently it wasn't good enough. And we were hearing from different reports like Tim McMahon and others, Sam Amick, that Kessler was frustrated, that maybe he was like wanting out of Utah and all these different things, using that as leverage. And obviously Walker Kessler's agent maybe let things get out of hand. Probably wasn't doing the best job of making sure these things went how they want, because things in our social media era that we're in, things can get a little crazy. And so speaking of social media, Walker Kessler got onto Instagram today and had a really nice message for Jazz fans saying, "I've seen what's being said, and I want it to be clear that I have always wanted to be here. I love this city, these fans, my teammates, my coaches. That's real to me. You don't grow roots where you don't want to be." Now, some of those, the way that's written, it looks a little ChatGPT to me, but that's okay. The heart is there, and the meaning behind it is there. I certainly appreciate Walker Kessler's message to Jazz fans, because I want Walker Kessler on the Jazz next year. So having all these things happen and having it seem like he didn't want to be here was frustrating, because if we're being honest, the future of this Jazz team is extremely bright. With Walker Kessler and Lauri Markkanen and Jaren Jackson Jr. and Keontae George alone, that core right there is a playoff caliber team. Now you add either A.J. DeBonsa, Darren Peterson, or maybe Caleb Wilson, although I'm hoping for A.J. DeBonsa and Darren Peterson. You get even better. And so I think that's why Jazz fans were very frustrated, is they just saw what's going on, and it's like, do you care about it at all? Well, obviously he does, and obviously is fine being with Utah. And now this does take a little bit of the leverage from the agents. If they were trying to build some leverage that maybe Walker Kessler wanted to go somewhere else, they kind of lost some leverage with this. So it makes it actually maybe even a little bit more meaningful that Walker Kessler wanted to make sure that Jazz fans knew that he wants to be here and that enjoys wanting to be in Utah and be a part of this team. So that is definitely meaningful. Now, doesn't mean the negotiations are done. It doesn't mean that they're going to happen tomorrow. Maybe we wake up tomorrow and this video is moot and there's a contract signed, and that would be great. My guess is the process is still going to continue. They're still going to try to get the most money possible, because that's what you would expect, right? You're going to expect Walker Kessler and his team to do the best they can to make the most money possible. We'll see how long that takes. It may take a while. It may happen tomorrow. Who knows? My guess is, though, at some point that we're going to see an offer accepted. Maybe Utah bumps it up a little bit based off of things they hear or whatever. But $28 million a year certainly seems very generous and a good offer. $140 million for Kessler, and he gets to be a part of this team and the part of the future, a part of a winning culture. I mean, it could have been really bad. It's not like the Utah Jazz were like dirty dogging Kessler, because obviously they had him resting with this injury, but in years past as well. And they could have, with Walker Kessler's injury, they could have lowballed Walker Kessler. This offer feels very comparable to the other offers that are out there, like the offer for Jared Allen, which was like 3 years, $90 million. $28 million a year is obviously $2 million less, but it's $140 over 5 years. So solid offer. And I don't think Jared Allen's getting $30 million a year after this contract, based off of how has not really been able to be a dominant force for that Cleveland Cavaliers team. So just that as a comparison makes this offer for Kessler seem very solid, very good. And so we'll see what happens. Maybe they bump it up a little bit. I don't know, but it certainly seems like they're going to get something done at some point. And the nice thing is it's not going to be so dirty. Now, there's some little things that this might affect the draft a tiny bit. We've been hearing a ton of Cam Boozer stuff. One of the things that Tim McMahon had mentioned on some of his podcasts, the Hoop Collective and other places, Spencer Checketts, is that perhaps Cam Boozer could play with Jaren Jackson Jr. if the Walker Kessler thing doesn't work out. Well, now that Walker Kessler's here, that certainly seems like maybe one less reason to draft Boozer. If they're going to draft Cam Boozer, it's because they believe he's the best player they can draft, right? The best player available. That doesn't mean you don't take into account some other things. And like all the reporting we've seen, obviously Utah has those three, according to reporting, kind of at the same level, and they're not quite sure who they're going to pick. Well, if that's the case, then you're going to take other things into account. And now with Walker Kessler very obviously going to be on the Jazz next season, it's one less reason to draft Cam Boozer, right? With a glaring hole at shooting guard for Utah that either AJ DeBonsa or Darren Peterson will fill, it's just one less reason to waste their time with Cam Boozer. And my guess is because the Memphis Grizzlies are such an analytic-focused front office that this whole Cam Boozer thing might be about that. All right, guys, let me know in the comments if you're happy to see Walker Kessler in a Jazz uniform. Thank you to the All-Stars. Thank you to the members. If you'd like to support the channel, hit the join button and like and subscribe. All the things. Guys, I'll talk to you tomorrow.